Hashtag Chuck Todd should resign. So, Chuck Todd resign. Why
I think I was before. I'm sorry. I'm wearing the wrong shirt. I apologize in advance to everyone.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not brown.
Yeah, it's too black.
Oh. Yeah, we're all wearing the wrong
He's jumping
color.
the gun. He knows what's going on in the story. He just was going.
Yes.
He's going to get there ahead before
Yes.
everyone else.
I know this
He'll
story.
Get there. You'll get there. You'll
Right.
catch up.
So the thing is, never forget that corporate media despises Bernie Sanders. Corporate media despises his supporters and progressives and independents. Corporate media and all their talking heads at CNN, MSDNC, ABC, CBS, they're all going to do and basically speak the same thing, and that is we're a threat to them. We're a danger to them. And more importantly, that we're just like we're people who cannot win any kind of election. When in fact, if we look at our record, we're able to win a lot of key seats of power away from the Democratic establishment. Yet Chuck Todd decided to call us and actually quote us, progressives and independents, as something else entirely deplorable and disgusting. And these people, these pundits, think they have what it takes to actually, take down Donald Trump. These people created Donald Trump. But yet, once again, they're proving who they are. They're incompetent. And we have a quick, short video to play of good old Chuck Todd saying that we're all digital brown shirts.
No star. There is no star, but this is the other thing. This is what I'm hearing just sort of out and about the country. A lot of people are saying, a lot of very enthusiastic voters are saying, yeah, you all figure it out, and I'll figure it out once you guys have decided. I don't think it's so much that people aren't excited about who's running. They may have their excitement spread across multiple people, and they're waiting for somebody else to make the decision. Because you can't tell me that people aren't excited about Bernie Sanders. That may not be the majority, but you can't say people aren't excited about it.
That's his advantage here. Bernie Sanders has a huge advantage in New Hampshire, which he had, which he did so well in
60%
in 4 years ago, and he's still local. They're enthusiastic, and they will not be denied. And that's the other problem going forward. There is going to be a huge resentment if some huge pool of money goes elsewhere. If Bloomberg makes a move, if Biden collapses, if there's a Stop Bernie movement, that is going to be to hell will pay with the Bernie people because they are so committed.
Hey, I want to bring up something that Jonathan last put in the Bulwark today, and it was about how, in Ruth, we've all been on the receiving end of the Bernie online brigade, and here's what he says. He says, no other candidate has anything like this sort of digital brown shirt brigade. I mean, except for Donald Trump. The question no one is asking is this: what if you can't win the presidency without an online mob? What if we now live in a world where having a bullying agro-social media army running around, popping anyone who sticks their head up is either an important ingredient for or a critical marker of success?
Wow. Okay,
I know everybody's freaking out about this, but you saw the MAGA rally that's preparing around here. There are people coming from 3 or 4 states on that. That's real, and this is like Bernie.
So I just want to say real quick before Kit jumps in, 2 things on this. First of all, I love the fact that he's going, hey, we have an issue that we might have a mob that we're dealing with, as he's literally reading this off Twitter. I just want to point out the irony in that. Second of all, I want to point out this goes to an article that I covered about a week or 2 ago. How, isn't it fascinating how the mainstream media has all of a sudden gone, you know what we need to do to the only Jewish candidate in the race? Start comparing him to Nazis. That seems reasonable.
And you know what? This once again shows how incompetent the DNC establishment is, and more importantly, how corporate media, how incompetent they are. And they're wondering why they're not being attacked. They're being corrected, because for a long time, these media pundits thought that they were always in the know, that they figured everything out, that they had everything in the bag. How did that turn out for all of us in 2016? How did it turn out for all of us with the aftermath of the DNC basically committing election fraud and the corporate media turning a willing blind eye to the clear election fraud that was happening? See, when these corporate media pundits, especially early on in 2019, what were they all saying? They were saying the same thing. Bernie Sanders is irrelevant. His campaign doesn't have what it takes. He's not going to build that large coalition. He's done for. It's over. He's not going to make any impact on any of the primary states. They were saying that for the entire year. For the entire year. And now all of a sudden, it looks like everything they were saying since that time is now basically bullshit, which is what they're spewing out. And now here you're having Chuck Todd basically going online and comparing us to Trump supporters.
No, to Nazis.
To Nazis too, yeah.
To Nazis.
To Nazis. Sorry for that quick correction.
Well, both really.
Yeah, both. Yeah, because they're calling us digital brown shirt brigade. I mean,
the brown shirts is a reference to the Nazis.
Yeah.
But then, like Trump, like this online mass like Trump is what is reiterated. So that's an interesting conflation there, right? Bernie is somehow like Trump because he has a large online presence, and that large online presence has no patience for people trying to spin things and trying to rewrite history or gaslight people or basically give false information. That brigade, as they call them, the brown shirt brigade, conflating them with Nazis, is not about to have any of that. We're going to show up and be like, actually, if you just say the Medicare for all is going to cost this much in taxes, but leave out how much it ends up saving people, that's an inaccurate way of presenting that. And we're going to hold your feet to the fire and ask news presenters to be honest about the way they present information, particularly as it pertains to the Bernie Sanders campaign, because they aren't being honest.
Yeah, so I want to call out Chuck Todd directly. So, Chuck, I know you're watching because you really have nothing else to do because all you do is read a teleprompter and then have quite a bit of off time. Stop calling the Jewish candidate. Stop comparing him to Nazis. It is cruel. It is unusual. Also, Bernie Sanders' family was, how do we call it, holocausted. I'm not making up words because I feel like I'm on the news. I have to do this weird shit. This is disgusting. This is deplorable. You are the deplorable, Chuck Todd. You need to step down. You need to get off your pedestal. You need to go in the forest somewhere, find Hillary Clinton, have a kumbaya moment, never come out. This is exactly why people hate you. This is exactly like Paul said, because you are trying to rewrite history. Again, you are trying to compare a Jewish candidate whose family was wiped out in the Holocaust to a Nazi because it fits your political narrative. You are the brown shirt. You are the person who is using fear, intimidation, and trying to take someone who the populace wants and have the populace turn against. Now, here's the bigger issue that you have to deal with, is that the reason you don't like the online audience, that this mob, because it's online, it's a mob, it's terrible, it's all these different things, because it's not your purview. You are television. You are so used to controlling the world through television, and that control is just slipping through your fingers every single day. You're losing people. You're losing relevance, losing viewers, losing money, losing it. So now the online audience is stronger than you, smarter than you, more intelligent, calling out your bullshit and doing all those things that it needs to do to be successful. And what are you doing? Collapsing.
So here's
Chuck Todd resign.
Yeah,
That's
Chuck
what
Todd
that says.
resign. So here's another thing too. For a long time, a lot of these pundits, they were in control. But now, because of the rise of Twitter, Facebook, and all the forms of social media, because of independent media outlets like here, like Heartlands Media, we're able to challenge these gatekeepers of knowledge. We're able to challenge these gatekeepers who basically control the truth. Never forget that it was the establishment media that gave Trump and his empty podium all the power in the world during the 2016 primaries and even during the 2016 general election. This is the same people, like Chuck Todd, who allowed Trump to come into office because they never were able to think critically for themselves. They were never able to really challenge him or even cancel him when he was basically spewing out misinformation. They created this situation. So Chuck Todd, if you can't handle criticism, if you can't handle people, basically average voters, calling you guys out at MSDNC, at CNN, at ABC, at all these other media outlets, if you can't take that criticism, then maybe this job is just too much for you. Maybe you're just too afraid at the fact that you guys were wrong about everything. Maybe you guys are finally realizing that you created this situation, and now more than ever, people are hungry for information, people are hungry for truth, and people want there to be real accountability, not only for the political establishment, but for the media as well. Because let's not forget, 6 major corporations control all the media here in the United States. And do you think Chuck Todd is out there doing real investigative journalism? Do you think Chuck Todd is out there really calling out the establishment? He needs access. And the one thing that he's afraid of is if Bernie Sanders becomes the nominee and wins the general election, they lose that access because now they don't have to pander to the people in Wall Street or the big banks or even at the political establishment. They don't have what it takes. And Chuck Todd obviously doesn't have what it takes either. So #Chuck Todd resign, and resign now.